Hello, my golf fanatics. It's Billy Ho here. Welcome to Billy Ho Sports. Sort of an exciting finish in Paris for the Olympics. Really, Scotty Scheffler wins the gold is just apropos of the season of Chef. And that's his nickname, evidently. I don't know if anybody ever said that, but they had this tweet with him or post. He's holding this board with all these little things, and his goal was to have fun at the Olympics. Nickname is Chef, which makes sense. He is definitely cooking. So kind of the anti-Russ Wilson. You just let Scotty cook. He gets it done. Then you got perennial bridesmaid Tommy Fleetwood taking silver, just not able to make it count when it counts. Hideki, in typical fashion, can't make putts, gets the bronze. Both of them looked a little ho-hum on the podium while Scotty's holding up double birds to the world. and you just get out there and beat him. He's just like Tiger Woods. Don't be a hater. Just beat the man. Y'all were ahead of him the whole time. I mean, he wasn't even on he was not even on the radar, I didn't think. And then all of a sudden he was, he was 9 under. He was like 3 or 4 back. He spotted you a few strokes. What else you going to do? John Rahm with your double bogey, your back-to-back bogey, blowing the podium, so to speak. So anyway, I did enjoy that golf course. It was very TPC Sawgrass / Twin Cities-esque. But on to this week's action. PGA DFS preview. We're diving into the Wyndham Championship, the final event of the season before the FedEx Cup begins. We will look at some FedEx Cup point standings because we do have some bubble boys. There's a big field this week set to take place at historic Sedgefield Country Club, Greensboro, North Carolina. Shout out Big Daddy Gator. That's your hometown. Breaking down the unique features of the golf course. Then we'll jump on Fantasy National's powerful engine to look at some player stats, models, and such. By the end of the video, we should have an idea of a player pool. And we got DraftKings pricing. We got Billy Ho contest. It starts on my birthday. Shameless plug. Happy birthday to me Thursday. I'm not telling you how old I'll be, but I am over 50. So, for horse racing fans, tons of great summer content out there on Billy Ho Sports. That is my main kind of thing nowadays. It's just something that's just kind of been near and dear to my heart my entire lifetime, really, going back to when I was a child. So, subscribe to the channel. Clicking that like button goes a long way. Let's go. Okay, before we get going, quick weather report. Rain in the forecast for most of the week down there in Greensboro. Big Daddy Gator is local to that area. I'll hit him up for a more in-depth weather report on the Discord. And if you want to post a comment requesting an invite, I'll give you one. You can jump on the golf and get down with us. Hasn't been as riveting as it had been in past there, but we still have several top-notch players there that we all bounce around our opinions. Now, wind is likely as well as the weekend approaches. So there's going to be a high probability for some wave stacking. So we're going to have to keep an eye out on that weather. Sedgefield Country Club is a Donald Ross design, par 70, 7,100 change, tree-lined fairways. It's a mixture of short par 4s, demanding par 3s. The par 3s are difficult. Easy bunny par 5s. Offer a high rate of eagles. Agronomy as such is pretty much all Bermuda grass. Very, very light rough on the penal side. Greens are 6,000 square feet. They do typically run fast. They are champion Bermuda grass, as I think it is. Several holes in play under par. The first several holes are play under par, I should say. Then you get to the 5th hole. It's only 525 yards. It's basically a long par 4. It's so easy that it has a higher eagle rate than it does a bogey rate. So the front 9 is definitely the easier of the 2 9s. So if you got your low level guys going out there, you may want to look at which 9 they're playing on Friday. Back nine is tougher. Like I said, it has numbers uh, 2, 4, and 5 handicap holes, and hole 14, 505. 18th hole is the toughest. That's 507. But you do have the easy par five in the middle there. So it's a really awesome golf course. It is built in the elite of the elite down in Greensboro, fancy schmancy area. Uh, I believe Webb Simpson lives on the golf course or something like that. He named his daughter Wyndham. So, that's kind of thing. So anyway, let's jump over to Fantasy National and take a look. Okay, looking at the course breakdown of Sedgefield, like I said, the first few holes play under par. Pretty good birdie rate there. Then you get to 6.5% eagle rate on hole number 5. And then you do have one of the tougher holes in number 7, which like I said, the par threes are usually pretty tough. This one's the easiest. The par number 3, obviously, and then you have a couple of short par fours before you make the turn, and then you get into the tougher holes, like I said, 4, 2, and 5. Then you have 3, and the toughest one, number 1. You can see the eagle rate way up in 4.2%. So when it comes down to it, it's really just the flusher's paradise. You got the huge amount of strokes gained, and it's really these two stats: hot irons and hot putter gets it done here. And then as long as you don't lose it in the woods off the tee, you're spraying it everywhere. You can see what the winners do. Basically, just a little bit better of everything, and you can see how insignificant around the green is. I mean, you could put a little bit on there. There's a little scrambling going on, things of that nature. But let's get over there and huh. Okay, course breakdown. As I said before, it's really an easy beginning. You got maybe one tough hole, which is this par 3 long. The par threes are tough. 3 out of the 4 of them anyway are the toughest on the golf course. Basically, you make the turn, and then you have a really tough stretch from 10 until you get to the short par 4, and then you have the reachable par 5, and then you polish it off with this long 570-yard uh, par 4 finishing hole. So basically, the winners: hot fire irons, flusher's paradise, hot putter, and it's basically little around the green, if any. And unless you're spraying it everywhere, you're going to be fine. Uh, like I said, the rough's really not all that penal. So so we'll just move. Let's look for top tens. You can see there's really little difference in the two as far as what the bar graph goes. And then you get down here, and the greens are 6,000 square feet, which is pretty average. So 3-putt avoidance is not that big of a deal. But the bigger the greens, the more likely 3-putting is, for obvious reasons. Uh, like I said, insignificant. Greens gained is a little higher here. These greens are pretty easily to hit. Fairways gain, obviously, if you hit fairways, the winners are going to hit all the fairways, but you don't necessarily have to be the most super accurate. Distance is pretty much irrelevant here. That's why you'll see a variety of people competing. But here's where we want to look at is what kind of approach shot distribution we got. And it is a huge amount of 150 to 175. And with these short par fours, that means these players are clubbing down. They can hit irons off the tee and then have 9 irons. 150 to 175 are like pitching wedges for a lot of these guys. So it's really, you can really just hit 3 woods and 5 woods off the tee or whatever you want, and then take advantage of your distance when you can. The big deal here, if you start to want to put together a stat model, is 8 holes between 450 and 500 yards. That's what you want to focus on right there. So that should be that's 400. Yeah, 400 to 450. My apologies. I knew that's what that was. But I said, because this course is not long, 400 to 450 yards is what your stat model should read. And then you see you can have, about virtually the same. Greens and regulation are way high. Like I said, the three putt's going to be a little higher because the greens are a little bigger, but the rest of this stuff is pretty irrelevant in my opinion. So next thing I want to do is take you over to the course, the tournament history. This is what we want to look at, obviously, and I'll always toggle to the top. So here's your course horses. You got guys, obviously Webb Simpson, but we know what's going on with Webb Simpson as far as his golf game has just gone to shit basically over the last couple of years. He lost the ability to putt. Every now and then he shows some brief flashes, but he can't put 4 rounds together anymore. I don't know if life got in the way or he's having health, whatever in his personal life is going on. I don't recall any major injury that has caused this downturn over the last year and a half or maybe even longer. But Sung J M is obviously the top price guy. He's going to be uber popular. He's got a really good record here going across the board. Obviously, he nearly won it in 2022. He has really, really been playing some of his best golf of the season. So he's going to be a tough one to get rid of. Uh, Siwoo Kim obviously is a course fit. He hasn't had a couple of good years here, but he had 3 straight top fives before that. Billy Hustle, Billy Ho, my dude, definitely a great record here, and he's been playing some really good golf. He's going to be highly popular. He's a guy I might bet outright this week though, just because us Billy's got to stick together. And then you got guys like Poston, actually Cameron Davis. Actually, I thought was a little bit of a different outlier, sort of, because he's kind of like this bomber that's a little erratic with the driver. He did win a couple of tournaments back, and so he is in pretty good nick right now. But I normally like him on bent grass, so I guess he's just something about this golf course that suits his eye because he can really take advantage of it. Kisner, I would completely ignore because I don't even know if he's going to play. He's a local guy. He's like a Webb Simpson esque. He's won this tournament. He's really competed here. If he's like 0.2% owned, I don't know. I might give it a thought, but he has not been playing good golf. Brendan Todd is going to be popular, interesting. 7,000 is way too cheap for him, I think. Denny McPutts. This is a golf tournament he can win if he can get that putter rolling. Chesson Hadley has got great record here. Obviously, Taylor Moore, which is usually a guy I like to play on tougher golf courses, has got a good record here as well in a couple of tournaments last couple of years. This is where you get down to guys that are just there. This is where the actually really the course history kind of starts taking a downturn here. Bud Colley, I am definitely starring because I keep forgetting about him, but he's kind of like a short knocker, but he's very accurate. The dude does normally rely on his around the green game, but let's briefly take a quick look at Mr. Colley's form right now, and we'll see he's not the best of putters, but he is definitely Bermuda preferred surface. And then you have not really, like I said, the approach game has been really off. I guess when he first reappeared on the scene back somewhere around here, I thought he had a top 10, but I guess I was mistaken on that. But he has been playing some golf. Technically, he's a golfer, so I might be completely wrong about him. Anyway, uh, going over to the model, like I didn't really go over everything, but I'm just going to take good drives. Stroke gain approach is a strong one. I got just a touch of around the green, but I'm just all your scoring stats, and then there's your 400, 450, and opportunities gained. So all that stuff's important. The mixed condition model I went through, and I may go play around with a little wind, but it looks like it broke. I didn't really want that one in there, the plus 25 feet, because who cares if it's moderate to windy and 25-foot putting range. But I will adjust these accordingly. So let's do that now. Pause video. Okay, so sometimes Fantasy National doesn't always save my settings when I'm over here at the mixed condition model, or it'll reset them. Not really sure why, but what I did with the mixed condition model was I put mostly course history, and then I wanted Bermuda specialists for the last 24 rounds. So I just kind of mixed and matched the percentages here to see who would come up, and obviously there's your usual suspects. I always like Billy and Sungjae on Bermuda grass. Siwoo Kim is not so much, but he's really, really good. You can see how good he's actually not very good on Bermuda. I remember the fantasy grind, Jeff, I forget his last name. My apologies. But he works for DraftKings, mentioned that Siwoo Kim is not good on Bermuda grass. So, but he is really, really good with those irons. He loves this golf course, obviously, with those good scores there. Peter Malnati, that's a pretty good looking stat profile. Pat Gazire. These are probably golf tournaments where I'm going to be looking for that kind of like journeyman type of guy with a lot of course history. Nick Taylor's not a bad idea either. Things of that nature. Jordan Spieth is in this golf tournament at $9,500 amongst this field. I mean, you could tell how his game's fallen off. Shane Lowry's in the field, 10,300. So we'll look at DraftKings pricing here momentarily. So quick look at the FedEx Cup before we get over to DraftKings. You can see the Xander, the season that Xander has had, and he's nearly 2,000 points behind Scotty Scheffler. Obviously, there was no FedEx points awarded for the Olympics, but that's just how insane that is that he's been that good. And people were talking about, well, if Xander wins the gold medal, he could be Player of the Year. Dude's got 6 wins. Just because Xander's got 2 of his wins majors, those were the only 2 wins. And I know he's been top 10, and he's been really probably. I mean, if you want to get Mr. Consistent Golf Award, they're 1 and 1A. Scotty's the Player of the Year. He just proved it. So enough of that said. But I just wanted to pan down here to show you the steps. This is the top 10. That gets big bonuses too. So Shane Lowry making the top 10. I would say he's probably going to be able to maintain that. I don't know that there's too many guys in this neighborhood that are playing this week. But Shane, I guess, wants to get over to the States and get reacclimated to American golf. So he's going to play this week as a tune-up. And shout out to him for having a really good PGA season. And then you get into, this is your top 30. These are the guys that are most likely to make East Lake. That's your Tour Championship. And then you got the 50 for the BMW. And then the tournament begins, top 70s, FedEx St. Jude. There's no more 125. I'm sure most of you were already aware of that. So these are guys that are all playing this week. Victor Perez, Brendan Todd, Seamus Power, Johnny Vegas, who won. He just won to get into the FedEx Cup. So that's dope. Good job, Johnny V. So these are guys that I wouldn't specifically target. You know, I don't read a whole lot into like, oh, needs to get into the FedEx Cup. And these guys want to go out and play well and win. And if they play well and score well, then this is going to take care of itself. So I know I'm not really too awfully interested in that. So back over to the mixed condition model. You saw the listing here of guys. Oh, the main model. My apologies. This is what I wanted to do. Let's rank them, because this is how I like to compare with the mixed condition model rank. And then I like to try to find guys down here like Keith Mitchell. Oh my God, Bermuda Keith is back, baby. This might be Keith Mitchell week. You can see how poorly he's been putting it lately, but he is best on Bermuda, and he likes to putt on the Bermudas. So I am definitely going to be interested in Keith Mitchell at 7,800, and probably not going to go overlooked. I'm not the only one with that knowledge. It's probably what they call travel knowledge. But guys like Ben Griffin, who shows up twice, Joe Damon, if he struggles with the putter as well, if he could just putt, he could take care of some business this week, because the rest of his game suits this golf course greatly. Then you got Dylan Wu, my dude. These are my 2 dudes. These are guys who are brothers from another mother, the Asian Carson Young and the American Dylan Wu. I'm supposing that's how it is. I just almost equate their games together. You can see how closely they're ranked. They just do slightly different things different or slightly things differently. Like Carson Young, really accurate, not so much with Dylan Wu, but Dylan Wu is better with the irons a little bit, but they both do pretty decently in the birdie range. He's a little better around the green. So one will outdo the other in each week, but I like both of those guys this week. Famous Seamus, I think, is a good fit too. And I want to get down here. I want to find a few more guys. Brendan Todd, I'm playing this week somehow or some way. I just feel like he's like a good putting a week away. He's really good with his iron. He's good with his irons. He's very, very accurate. Uh, so I think that I know the strokes gain approach is off, but let's take a look real quick to see what his recent form has been. So you can see how strong he is on Bermuda. So yeah, see, so he's about even to a little below average on the irons, but it's been a while since. So I apologize for that misstatement. But sometimes we know what we're talking about, and sometimes we just guess. But I digress. But you can see how piss poor Mr. Jordan Spieth has been. He was driving the ball really, really good there for a long time, but scares me to death his putter. So I don't know. People are going to play Jordan Spieth, the sharps, so to speak, because nobody else will. And he's just talent back. They call it in horse racing back class. This horse was a grade 1 winner last year, and he's yet to hit the board this season, kind of thing. Trying to get down here a little bit more before we go to DK to see if there's anybody down here. Justin Lauer. You can see pretty good with the putter. The two things you probably want to look at are approach and putting when you get way down here, is to start trying to find guys. And it may be better to do this, is to come up here and go approach and then start looking for cheapies, Gimmer. And then you got Chan Kim, 4chan, as Mayo likes to say it. There's Lipsky. I played Lipsky was it last week or I forget it. No. Yeah, I guess not the Olympics, obviously, but the previous week to that. And he really, really was a big letdown. Unfortunate for me. But he's got some talent. Joe Damon, 6,600. There's Roger Sloan. I kind of looked at him briefly. You can see how he's really good at 400 to 450, which there are 8 of those. But this is through the last 24 rounds, so you can play around with that. But I want to go ahead and get some DraftKings going here, and just to see what a build will look like before we get out of here, and then we'll finish up. I really can't not. I'll tell you what, this might be my start right here, right there, and then I'm just going to go way down here into no man's land here. And not saying that I'm going to select these guys, but there's some good players down here. Damon, I don't think we got 5K pricing this week. Nope, no 5K. I was going to say, you don't put 5K pricing with 10,700 leaders. Then people will be building all kinds of crazy shit. But this is a lineup. You still got 7,200, so you could just poke in 1 or 2 guys from this range, I like Nick Taylor. Adam Shanks, pretty solid too. Thunder Bear, you're already up to 74. So if you pick a 7K guy, then you can go back up and back down. You can mix and match. Coley Cole is a solid dude. I mean, he's a guy. He's not really all that with the irons. Pretty decent. Speaking of Eric Cole, actually, 7,700 while we're screwing around here. This video is going to go a little longer than I wanted, so thanks for sticking with me. Subscribe and like, all that good stuff. Coley Cole, because this looks like a Coley Cole type jam. Actually, he's got the putter back going again. You remember he was really god awful, missing cuts left and right because he just lost the putter for a long time. He was so good way down here when he was top 5 and top 10 because he was just making everything. and then he just forgot how to putt for a long time. But that has come back with a vengeance. 4-2-5, gaining 31st in the Open Championship. So pretty solid with the approach game. He can be at least field average, but you could see when you get into the weaker fields like we're going to have here, he immediately becomes positive. So definitely Eric Cole in the mix. So that leaves you 7,600, and you can pick a guy. I mean, Jaeger just coming off. That's just Jaeger bombs. Play him in a birdie fest. Be done with it. That'll do it for the picks and preview show for the Wyndham Championship. Thanks for watching. FedEx Cup coming up. Billy Ho Sports. Give us a follow on X at Billy Ho Sports. Join the contest. It's already out. You just saw it. No excuses. I'll post it in the description as well as a pinned comment. Till next time, see you soon.